we obviously this is how the CRF looks now. It's pretty nice, isn't it? Since we have the bike in this state, and we're going to be powder coating it here real soon, this is the prime time to do any little frame modifications. I've got two problems with the back of the frame of this bike, right? Problem one is there's not a great place to grab back here to move the bike around. You're basically dealing with a plastic right here when your hand comes up. I know there's a big piece of frame here, but it's not necessarily a great handle. And I think it'd be cool if we could make a small handle basically right back in here to let you pick the bike up. I don't want it to be like a full grabby grab handle, maybe just something you can kind of cup your hand against. It's something this bike really doesn't have and most dirt bikes do have. Stock, it did have that big plastic trim piece under here and you could pick it up and move it by that. Did kind of make a lot of plastic cracky poppy noises, which didn't give me a ton of confidence in it. Obviously that's all gone now. Other problem is that big plastic tray that was underneath here covered up these little holes in the frame right here. And these holes don't go to some other weep hole somewhere else. These are just holes in the frame. I'd like to fill these in as well. And I know what you're thinking. Jake, both of those problems were caused because you took that whole thing off and replaced it with a trash can. And I did. It forced you to use that horrible tail light. I don't care. It was dumb. It's gone. I'm okay with that. It's been a slight inconvenience. Now we're going to fix it. This is also Fire Guy's place. I mean, you know Fire Guy. We got this. Oh, I got a piece of metal here. I think we're basically going to make what looks like a giant staple. Put it through. You'll see. It'll be a thing. Chris knows what he's doing, so he'll make. He's very convincing at least, right, Chris?
We're going to make a D-shaped handle, and we're going to drill through the frame. Then we're going to plug weld it in there, and we're going to make like the best handle ever for the CRF300L, because that's what we do. It's excellent.
At minimum, it has to be like the width of a hand.
So we want to come out at an angle like yay.
I kind of want it to be fairly close actually to this fender. So it's almost going to be flaring up slightly, I want to say.
How about we put the center of this on that fender line? Let's do this. Hand and like 4 inches out of either side. So whatever that is, we cut 2 lengths of those. We heat them up, we bend them, get the angle figured out. It's either going to be very scientific or I'm going to eyeball the out of it. Actually, we have a nice flat surface, sort of Honda. Cut it off flush, plug weld it.
That way you'll have dumb strength. Like you should be able to lift the bike from this. And that's, what did I get? That's
3/8.
3/8, yeah. So it's chunky, it's good. Sorry guys that know millimeters, it's some kind of size. I totally didn't forget this fender and have to drive all the way home. It's like an hour each way.
Move your hand.
Now we'll do the full length there.
Okay,
foot, we'll just call it foot, yeah.
Okay, the center is your waist.
I was like, I thought you meant my waist. I was like, I don't think.
No, like, for the viewers at home, you don't want to just mark 1 foot, 2 foot, because then you lose width on your saw blade. So one will end up shorter than the other. So if you do 1 foot from one end, 1 foot from the other, and the waist, your material waist in the center, it's going to be more accurate. And then when we make our markings to do our bends, hopefully it'll come out the same. Enough to where we can lay them on top of each other and they'll look very similar at least. That's the plan.
That's the tank refilling, isn't it?
Probably. For anybody who cares at home, I just removed my air compressor, which has been there, and put it in the shed, and ran 220 volts to the shed, and then ran a 1/2 inch air line basically 100 feet from the shed to here. And there's like a 7-gallon tank up there in the ceiling that's acting like a air capacitor. Jake came up with that. So this is like our first time using it. So of course we're not going to be able to flow this much air through 1/2 inch line over 100 feet. So we're trying to see if we can drain the surge tank enough to find a decline in airflow, which would just mean I'd need a bigger surge tank, I guess. But we can work all day, and we never have to worry about the compressor coming on, and then not being able to talk to each other, and me losing my mind. It's probably why I'm on medication right now, honestly. Life is better now. I'm sharing too much with y'all. So one thing I forgot to mention, you know, like I sound smart on paper, but you're actually supposed to cut like the factory end off because it's always not good. And surprise, this one's not great. So yeah, do that too. Cut the factory end off.
But we are going to cut all 4 of these, so it doesn't really matter.
No, we're going to cut them all off at the end. But
yeah,
you know, for that one person that was going to be like, "Oh, you're not going to just cut it based off the factory cut, are you?" So depending on how you put these in the vise, basically if you put them in the vise like this and you bend it, you're going to be a little shorter than 8 inches.
Yeah, so we need to go a little longer.
Do you want the full 8 inches?
I want the full 8 inches, Chris. Look at my hat. Do you think I...
That is a dirty tip. It's like a 100-foot long hose, so it takes forever for the actual gas to get here. Since I don't use it that often. That's going to have to be clean. There's no way around that. Man, it hasn't burned that good in a long time. Ooh, look at that. Oh, look at that. You want to get it good and hot. That way it doesn't crack or anything. And it bends uniformly. One slight problem.
It's hot now? Oh, I see what the slight problem is.
Yeah, there's.
You're gonna have to do it like up now, aren't you?
I should do it.
Looks like a field goal there. It's pretty close.
Pretty close. I have a strange man insert foam into my ears. Custom in-ear motorcycle headphones. I'm either gonna do the dual driver or the triple driver. Over $2,000.
That's right.
I'd say you make another one, and then we sort. Mother. Why wouldn't you tell me that's hot? Didn't take me long to look at it.
The speakers, they're fine.
No, they're not fine. They're not fine, Jake. I hate having to turn it up so loud that it blows your freaking ears out, and you still can't hear the music.
So the coolest thing though about those radios versus a normal Cinna is a normal Cinna, people like me, for instance, they'll just chat with you about nothing. And because you have to push to talk, and because when you push it, it has to switch over.
Did somebody tell you that that's what I said?
No, I just know that's how I am.
That's what I've been telling everybody but you. I'm like, if we ride with Jake, and Jake has to hold a button down to talk, he's not going to talk the whole time.
That's what I do, man. But it doesn't add priority. Listen, I also get sick of people too. Like, because you have to click it, it has to switch everybody over, so everyone's listening to music, and you have to wait a second, because it switches everybody over, and then you got to say something. So you can't just be like, that was a funny squirrel. Like, no. You have to like have something important to say, so it adds up. If you have someone like me in your group, insist that everybody get the radios, okay?
Because you're like, hey, Johnny, where'd you go? Johnny's not there anymore, but if you got a two-way radio, Johnny's still there.
For a good while at least. And you know what else is like, at this point you have Cinna and you have, what's the Cardo. And then someone's got like Fat Fabio or whatever it is.
Chatterbox, bro.
And then on top of that, not only have these different brands that claim to talk to each other, but only if you put them in like the most standard depth. And on top of that, I could have a Cinna and you could have a Cinna, but like they're a couple generations apart, forget it. So, you know, I'll do a video at one point going over the setup. I haven't done it yet because, don't worry, I'm on Family Talk Radio. I don't have a license, and that's, you know, I didn't want to like blab on about it because technically my radio is too powerful and go to too many channels. FRS, yes. You could just get the simple little whatever ones and not have to deal with that, but it's kind of tricky to get the Bluetooth adapter to. Anyways.
The smaller your band is, the tighter the radius is going to be. If you spend too long heating it, it's going to have a long radius. So probably.
I love it. That's what I tell myself, please. Bum, 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 bum.
If they're not the same, people are going to know.
How are they going to know? They're the same. They're the same. You just want to mark this with a marker, Chris?
No. Deep hole marking pen. We don't have any deep holes to mark, but it just makes you feel good inside.
That's a part of the frame now.
I'm not joking right now. I smell WD-40.
It's a KLR now. Alright, so now we just need to drill the posing holes and...
We'll need to get in there with a die grinder.
Obviously you got this one tube here, but you have this other intersecting tube and it's all side and we're going through welds and like butting against other pipes and Chris is losing bits inside my frame. He's making it heavier.
I'm sure none of this stuff I'm cutting out matters. gotta do is do better than these tie welds, right?
Looks good to me. There we go. No, simple as that. It took us mere minutes to do this. No, that's cool. Handles. This is all filled in now. If you don't have a friend like Chris, you need to get one. All right, there you go. Come feel this. This is it. This is it right here.
That's the move?
That's the move. Come on.
That's the move? Oh, that is the move.
We don't even need to cut these things. There's no reason to. Well, we're back home. Thank you, Chris, for your help. We got a little distracted there at the end, so I never closed the video out over there. Someone showed up. But yeah, here we have the finished product. And man, it looks great. This is, I love it when I have an idea in my head and then we're able to, accomplish it, whether me cobbling stuff together or going over there with professionals like Chris. We make something that looks like OEM. I mean, these follow the line. In my head, this is what I wanted this to look like. I didn't want it to be a handle you necessarily come here and grab. I wanted it to be something you did this with. You grab the frame and you picked up by it. If you're jacking the rear around, you're trying to swing it around because you've gone the wrong way down trail, or you're just loading it in your truck, or anything. Just someone's moving it around here in the garage and trying to make more room. Next video, I will pull the top end off that motor. That's already out on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, go check that out. If you are on Patreon, link your Patreon to your Discord and it'll automatically put you in the Discord server. I know I get asked about that regularly. That's how you do it. I can't like manually add you. The bot's just gonna reboot you. It's this whole thing. I'm not sure if anyone's ever actually gonna do this mod themselves. You're gonna be in this exact position, but since we're here and we're kind of going to this next stage of this build, I felt okay doing this. That's kind of like version 1.0, which is how this bike was before we started all this, is I think a good place to be with this bike. And this is version 2.0 where we're digging motors and putting ported heads and modifying the frames. I think we are jumping off into a place that I know not everyone's gonna go, and I don't know how well I addressed that at the beginning of starting all this stuff, my little winter project here, but I know not everyone's going to do these stuff. They'll do some of these things maybe. There'll surely be somebody out there, but I've tried my best to make this build be a very obtainable build that the average person could do. And so things like this, as much as I love that we did this, it sort of bothers me a little bit because I'm like, now we've done that. But these things are not impossible though, to be fair. You could do this stuff if you had a buddy and some time or you knew how to weld. Chris said something, he said he thought I said this. I don't think I ever said this. Does anyone remember me ever saying that this is my Swiss Army bike? He said that. I was like, oh, that's great. I love that. He goes, yeah, you said that. Does anyone remember me saying that? I'll take credit for it, but I'm pretty sure Chris came up with that. But yeah, my Swiss Army bike is slowly becoming more and more better. Basically, yep, next video, motor's coming apart. And yeah, see you then.